Joining me now is Peter Schweizer, author and president of the Government Accountability Institute in the U.S. Peter, thank you so much for coming on. There's so many fascinating issues to talk about right now, and you have sounded the alarm. I want to highlight this on what you say could be a very dangerous election manipulation technique called Smurfing, which takes large donations and breaks them up into smaller donations to get around campaign finance law limits. Tell our viewers about this and what your organization is doing about it.
Yeah, so Smurfing is basically a way to steer large sums of money to political candidates without, or I should say, to get around campaign donation limits. In the United States, in a general election, you can give a $3,000 contribution to a candidate's campaign. However, if I want to donate to a campaign, say $50,000, if I can break that up into small chunks and I can give those donations in other people's names when they don't even know that their name is being used, that's a way to mask that flow of money. And this has been a particular problem on a platform in the United States called ActBlue, hence the term Smurfing, small donations, blue, Smurf, you get it? And it's been a big problem. I mean, there are individuals that are listed by ActBlue who have given allegedly 8,000 to 10,000 small donations to candidates, numbering some $360,000, for example. And when you contact these individuals, they say, I have no idea what you're talking about. I haven't made any donations. So it's a major problem. And the problem is nobody has an incentive to deal with this. The candidates don't mind it because they're getting more money. ActBlue, this platform, doesn't ask for any credit card information other than the number. They don't ask for the name. They don't ask for the security code. But ActBlue gets its 3%. And the political parties don't seem motivated to do anything about it. So it's a major problem on the campaign finance front. It also creates the problem of possible foreign donations. Because again, if you can mimic somebody else, somebody else's name, make it up and make a bunch of small donations and avoid detection, certainly there is the possibility that foreign nationals might be doing that.
So, just to be clear here, this would be illegal, wouldn't it, to be doing this? Where is the Federal Election Commission in all of this?
Great question. Federal Election Commission in the United States is made up of 3 Republicans and 3 Democrats. Both sides really have not challenged on this issue. There is some interesting action on the state level, however. In the state of Virginia, in the state of Louisiana, the attorney generals in those states are investigating with subpoena power that this identity theft has taken place and these illegal donations may have taken place. And the good news about their involvement is they, of course, have subpoena power, which means they can go to ActBlue or they could go to the Republican equivalent, which is called WinRed, and subpoena their financial records. They could get the IP address of the person that made the donation. They could get all the detailed information, and hopefully that's going to be a way to get at the bottom of this. For me, the biggest problem here is not just hiding the money, it's this foreign donation component. In 2012, we reported that one of the biggest fundraising platforms for Barack Obama was Obama.com. The problem is Obama.com was not owned by Barack Obama or about his campaign. It was owned by a businessman in China. And they actually were driving traffic in China, in the Asia Pacific, to this website, and you could make donations to the campaign through this website. And again, they did not require the so-called CVV or credit card security code. It was completely unrestricted, and that's the concern, that foreign money is flowing into campaigns.
Hey, speaking of foreign money, how about some money going in the other direction here? Talking about the devastating Hurricane Helene, Kamala Harris has pledged $750 each to impacted individuals through the Federal Emergency Management Agency. First, have a look at this here.
The federal relief and assistance that we have been providing has included FEMA providing $750 for folks who need immediate needs being met.
Now, that's such a token amount, but it also comes as Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas has warned that the agency giving that money doesn't have enough money to make through hurricane season, which is interesting Because speaking of the money thing, FEMA has also allocated over $640 million in funds to, instead of go to citizens, to help resettle non-citizen migrants. Peter, can you make this make sense for me?
Well, I think it's all about political priorities, right? I mean, I'm old enough to remember when Hurricane Katrina hit New Orleans, the state of Louisiana, and there was outrage in the media because George W. Bush was perceived to be slow to respond to that crisis. Well, he was lightning quick compared to what we're getting out of this administration. And it's a question of priority. And look, you have to ask the question. I don't know that there's any direct evidence of it right now, but you have to ask the question. When you look at the political composition of the counties and the areas that have been hit, Valdosta, Georgia, for example, the upper northwest quadrant of Georgia, the western part of North Carolina, those are all deep red Republican districts. Both Georgia and North Carolina are razor thin in the upcoming presidential election. And I have to tell you, there have been more Machiavellian things in American political history than a presidency not wanting to see swift recovery, because if there's swift recovery, logistics are moving in those areas, those people can vote in force. As it stands right now, voter turnout in those regions is going to drop off significantly because people simply can't get to polling places. And, you know, honestly, I hate to be that cynical, but you have to wonder if that's not a factor in the slowness of this response.
Peter Schweizer, shocking, cynical, but, you know, these days it pays to be cynical sometimes. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.